For those who don't know me or haven't read my bio, I am African, Zambian to be specific. As a kid growing up in Zambia, I really loved the Super Smash Bros. Series, but with Nintendo not being a household name in Zambia as it is literally everywhere else, it was hard to find people to play with. So the next option I had was to turn to online, only to not find any opponents, or if I was lucky to find someone, the connection was extremely laggy. As a result, it was very hard for me to enjoy a game I really loved. I would watch YouTube videos of montages and tournaments and just dream of being a part of that one day. This experience I had as a child just trying to enjoy the fighting games I loved in Africa, I believe is one which is not unique to me, and probably relatable to a lot of fighting game fans on the continent. Today, Rollback has become an important conversation in the FGC due to the pandemic and everyone being forced to play fighting games online. Rollback netcode can allow players to have a smooth connection that almost feels like you're playing offline, but it can do so much more than that, especially for the African scene. It can give players more possible opponents, it can lower the barrier of entry to take part in competition, and overall just help the African FGC grow. And in this video, I want to explore how Rollback can do just that. Also, I understand, Rollback has been talked about at length by many different people over the last couple of years. But I just want to give the FGC a few more reasons to support Rollback. To the outside world and even other Africans, not much is known about the African FGC, that some may even assume that it does not even exist, but that could not be further from the truth. One reason why it may not look like there's not much going on in Africa is because the community is really small compared to our Western, Eastern, and Latin American counterparts. Despite the number of people who play fighting games competitively being low, there are a couple of countries who have passionate players and host tournaments, with countries like Morocco and South Africa being some of the bigger communities for fighting game competition. Morocco being home to many strong players in a variety of titles, most notably KOF, and South Africa being home to strong players and the biggest tournament in the Southern African region, Cape Town Showdown, or CTS for short. One of the biggest issues the African FGC has is its size. This is a problem because it makes it pretty hard to find people who are as passionate about fighting games as you are. If you live in a country like Morocco or South Africa, you may have an easier time finding competition, but if you live outside of these countries, you may struggle a little, as some countries host tournaments irregularly or not even at all. This can make the experience of being a fighting game fan in Africa kind of depressing. You watch all these videos of people doing all the sickest stuff in these games, and it inspires you to do that stuff as well, only to not find anyone to do that with. So the next option one has in this situation is to go find opponents online, but even there are some barriers which come up for the African fighting game player. Before I get into netcode, let me talk about ping. Ping is the amount of time it takes for your inputs to be sent to your opponent and back to you. Ping is measured in milliseconds or ms and is affected by a variety of factors, most notably the distance between you and your opponent. The shorter the distance between you and your opponent, the lower the ping, and vice versa. In any online game, you want lower ping, because lower ping means the time for your inputs to travel is shorter, and the game plays a lot smoother. If the distance between you and your opponent is greater, then the ping will be higher, and the game will play like crap. One of the many problems with delay-based netcode is that it's not very effective at higher pings. This is why a lot of online tournaments, especially for titles which make use of delay-based netcode, are region-locked, or Discords have region channels, because you want to play people closer to you so you have smooth matches and have fun, not to play a laggy mess which constantly eats your inputs. Why delay-based netcode's ineffectiveness at higher pings is a problem for African players is it reduces the amount of potential opponents one could have. Let's say you're a DBFZ player from Angola, and you have a hard time finding a community to play with offline. So you go online to find some matches. The problem is, if there's no one in your country playing offline, it is likely that there's no one in your country playing online too, which means the game has to expand its search to find you some opponents. It is possible that the nearest opponent to you at the moment could be someone from Kenya or even Egypt, which is a significant distance away from Angola. And playing someone that far away from you with delay-based netcode, especially DBFZ's netcode, does not sound like a pleasant experience. With the distance between you and your opponent being significant and delay-based netcode being crappy at higher pings, the match you would have would be laggy or just unplayable. This element of delay-based netcode is what limits the amount of potential opponents African players could have, and makes the fighting game experience worse and, from personal experience, kinda lonely. This is where the power of Rollback comes in. In an interview with Holdback to Block, Adam Keats talks about how Rollback is way more effective at higher pings than delay-based netcode. With delay-based netcode, the most amount of ping a match could have is about 60 to 80 ms. Anything beyond that would make the game an unplayable mess. But with Rollback, the range of playable pings goes up by a lot. Pings from 60 all the way to 150, even 200 ms are playable. And here's some matches between me and my friends on Fightcade, an online platform where you can play classic fighting games, to prove that. Currently, I'm on the west coast of the USA, while my friends are currently in Zambia, which is in the Southern African region. We're able to have buttery smooth connections, which honestly feels like we're playing offline, despite being an ocean away from each other. Both me and my friends were amazed that this was even possible with Rollback. Really, it almost felt unreal that we're able to play fighting games with such a smooth connection over an incredible distance. With Rollback, that player in Angola is not limited to playing people in his country, and his pool of potential opponents widens. He could play people from around Africa, Europe, maybe even Latin America. It's amazing that Rollback has the power to connect at such distances because it gives a chance to people who do not have access to a community to enjoy fighting games. Not only can Rollback give more people more opponents, it can make online tournaments a legit way to compete. With the pandemic, online tournaments have become a standard and are here to stay. The main issue with them though is that some titles make use of delay-based netcode, which causes lag. This is why online tournaments have never been seen as legitimate. The factor of lag makes online tournaments inferior to live competition. But with Rollback's ability to make online gameplay feel similar to offline, online tournaments can be a legit way to compete. This would be incredibly helpful to the African scene as many don't have access to a community, so online would be the next option. And also, online tournaments are way more accessible than live tournaments. To attend a live event, you need to pay an entry fee, pay for accommodation. If the event is outside your country, you would have to buy a ticket and put in a ton of work and money to get all your travel documents ready. When you add it all up, that's a crap ton of money to spend, especially in a part of the world where most economies ain't doing too hot. With online tournaments, that cost of competing drops significantly. All you need is a copy of the game, a platform to play it on, and an internet connection. The requirements to compete in an online tournament are a much easier ask than the requirements to compete in a live tournament for a lot of Africans. All in all, Rollback is such an amazing creation for fighting games, and it being implemented in more titles is important for the health of the genre and the growth of the community. For many African players, it can open them up to a part of the community which they may have felt was closed off to them. Hopefully, we can live in a world where African kids can just hop online, easily find some matches, and press some buttons. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. I plan to keep on creating more fighting game video essays and hopefully grow a community of people who just love to talk about fighting games. If you want to be a part of that and see more from me in the future, please subscribe. Again, thank you for watching and I hope you all have a good one.